Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're here. We are diving into something today that literally impacts every single hour of your life, both when you're awake and when you're fast asleep. If you've been struggling with just sheer exhaustion, or if you feel like you are constantly stuck in this endless, frustrating loop of dentist appointments, I promise you, you are not alone. Today we're unpacking some truly fascinating insights coming straight out of Salt Lake City, Utah, from Dr. Tyler Williams and his teams at Better Sleep and TMJ SLC and Pinecrest Dental. We're going to fundamentally change how you look at your airway, your biological night, and your dental health, because it's all about finding actual root cause solutions, not just slapping a patch on the symptoms. Now, you might be wondering why we're talking about this right out of the gate. Well, right here in the Salt Lake City area, a lot of people are up late at night, turning to search engines in total desperation. They're typing in things like, "Why am I gasping in my sleep?" or "How do I stop choking at night?" It is a massive issue. If you are waking up exhausted, feeling like you literally just ran a marathon instead of sleeping, or if you and your partner are facing what they call a sleep divorce, sleeping in totally separate rooms just so one of you can get away from the snoring, this explainer is for you. It's incredibly common, and it takes a huge toll on both your relationships and your overall health. But what's actually happening physically when we gasp for air like that? Let's move to and see how this builds. To really understand why this happens, we kind of have to look back at the evolution of our airways. Hundreds of years ago, if you look at human skulls, the mouths were structurally much larger. And why is that? It's because people had to vigorously chew and process really tough, unrefined foods. Fast forward to recent decades, and our diets have become, let's face it, incredibly soft and processed. Because we just aren't working those jaw muscles the same way during our development, there's real evidence showing our mouths are actually getting smaller. But here's the catch. Our tongues are staying the exact same size. So today, when you lie flat on your back to go to sleep, gravity takes over and that normal-sized tongue completely blocks your smaller airway. Your body's physically choking, and you gasp just to force that tongue forward so you can finally get a breath. And this brings us to a really crucial clinical term that you should definitely know, the Malampati score. When Dr. Tyler Williams evaluates a patient, this is day one, step one. It's a clinical scoring system that lets the team evaluate the physical relationship between the size of your tongue and the size of your airway. What's absolutely amazing here is that they don't just use this for adults who are already struggling. Early intervention is a huge deal. For teenagers and even young kids, identifying a poor Malampati score means the team can actively promote better airway development while that child is still physically growing, which can potentially prevent an entire lifetime of breathing issues or conditions like asthma. But if you are an adult and you're kind of just ignoring this, the consequences are honestly staggering. Just consider this reality for a second. 1 full hour. Dr. Williams' clinic evaluated a patient who just thought he was an occasional snorer. His partner thought it was, just a minor annoyance. But when they sent him home with a simple sleep evaluation tool, literally just a wristwatch and a finger ring, the data they got back was terrifying. This guy was going without oxygen for almost a full hour cumulatively during the night. Think about that. If you're sleeping 6 or 7 hours, that means for 15 to 20% of your time in bed, your brain and your body are literally being starved of oxygen. When you compound that over weeks, months, and years, the health ramifications are just enormous. So, airway structure is obviously one massive piece of this puzzle. But the other piece, it's your lifestyle. And that leads us to a fascinating concept known as the metabolic traffic jam. This is all about circadian nutrition. It's not just about what you're eating, but exactly when you eat it. Think of it like a physiological traffic light governing your daily habits. On the green light side, you've got people consuming the vast majority of their daily calories earlier in the day. This is brilliant because it completely synchronizes your digestion with your natural circadian rhythm. But then, on the red light side, we have late night eating. If you're finishing dinner or just snacking 2 to 4 hours before bed, you are causing a major physiological clash. Right as your brain is naturally releasing melatonin to prep you for sleep, that late meal causes a huge blood sugar spike. Your body basically gets confused. Instead of powering down to focus on deep tissue rest and cellular repair, it gets stuck in active processing mode, desperately trying to digest nutrients. You have literally created a metabolic traffic jam. But here is where we really have to connect the dots. I want to introduce you to a patient named Rhett. His frustration perfectly captures this exact dilemma. The quote goes, "He did everything right, routine, diet, timing, but he was still waking up gasping." Rhett is basically the perfect case study here. You can have absolutely immaculate sleep hygiene. You can eat your last meal at 4 p.m., get perfectly aligned with your biological clock, do everything right by the book. But if your airway structurally collapses the moment you fall asleep, no amount of early dinner is going to magically give your brain the oxygen it needs. If the issue is structural, you absolutely need a structural solution. For years, the undisputed gold standard for that structural solution was the CPAP machine. But let's look at the reality of that for a second. A traditional CPAP involves strapping this bulky mask to your face, which physically blows air past your tongue blockage. Now, while it absolutely works for some, a lot of people find it so uncomfortable that they literally just give up on treatment altogether. Contrast that with what completely transformed Rhett's life: a custom oral appliance. It's totally discreet, it's super travel-friendly, and instead of aggressively blowing air at you, it just comfortably positions your jaw and tongue slightly forward, naturally keeping the airway completely open. Rhett traded in that big clunky machine for this small custom device, and the result? He finally got his life, his daytime energy, and his restful nights back. So the crucial point is how we actually combine these great lifestyle habits with the right clinical tools. To make this super actionable for you, think of it as the 3-2-1 sleep method. 3 hours, that is your absolute cutoff. Finish your last meal at least 3 hours before hitting the pillow to avoid that metabolic traffic jam we talked about. 2 minutes, that is literally all the time it takes to brush your teeth and pop in a custom oral appliance. And one goal: achieving that deep, restorative sleep to protect your biological night, all without needing clunky machines. Now, to be clear, sleep apnea definitely requires active clinical treatment because it doesn't just magically go away on its own. However, there are some phenomenal supplemental habits that can really support your biological night. Dr. Williams highly recommends box breathing. This means breathing in slowly through your nose and your diaphragm for 4 counts, not your chest. Then there's mouth taping. It's a huge viral trend right now, and while it's definitely not a standalone cure for sleep apnea, it is an excellent way to practice breathing through your nose. Adding in supplements like magnesium and creatine can really help, right alongside side sleeping and weight loss. And as we mentioned earlier, getting evaluated doesn't have to mean a scary sleep lab anymore. You can actually do a home sleep evaluation using just a wristwatch and finger ring to see exactly what your oxygen levels are doing. All right, so addressing the physical structure of your airway is life-changing, no doubt. But this exact same philosophy of finding root cause structural solutions applies directly to the overall health of your mouth too. So let's shift gears slightly and talk about how to break the endless, often discouraging dental repair cycle. If you or someone you care about has ever been to a standard, traditional dentist, you probably know the traditional dental trap all too well. It is a painfully predictable pattern. It goes like this: a tiny cavity gets aggressively drilled out and becomes a filling. The process of placing that filling actually weakens the core structural integrity of your tooth. So a few years roll by and that weakened tooth fractures. The dentist then grinds it down into a tiny nub to fit a crown over it. The trauma of the crown eventually kills the tooth's nerve, meaning, you guessed it, that crown tooth now needs a root canal. The root canal eventually fails, leading to an extraction, and finally, that extraction leads to an incredibly expensive, long, and super uncomfortable road to get an implant. It's absolutely exhausting, and for so many patients, it is a path that simply did not have to happen that way. And this is exactly why Pinecrest Dental practices something incredibly fascinating: biomimetic dentistry. The word biomimetic literally translates to mimic life. This is a completely science-based approach to restoring teeth precisely the way nature originally designed them. Instead of brutally grinding a healthy tooth down to fit a crown, biomimetic dentistry uses advanced bonding materials that actually work with your tooth's natural flex and strength. It requires way less tooth removal, it holds up much longer, and structurally, it feels and functions so much closer to your real, natural tooth. Before they even consider committing to a root canal, they are actively looking for conservative alternatives that can actually save the nerve and keep that tooth alive. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference between standard care and advanced care. On one side, you have the quick patch. This is traditional dentistry, grinding healthy teeth down, offering temporary fixes. It's also the sleep clinics that just hand you a CPAP or an appliance with absolutely zero follow-up, leaving you super uncomfortable and ready to just throw in the towel. On the other side, you have full circle care. This means nature-mimicking biomimetic bonding, conservative veneers that don't destroy your healthy teeth, and actually doing full in-house implants with sedation if a tooth truly cannot be saved. For sleep, full circle care means periodic measurement and calibration of your sleep appliance so you have the actual data proving that it's working for you. Because this level of care is just so transformational, Dr. Williams and his team are actually offering a Mother's Day special invitation right now, running through May 28th, 2026. Whether you need an advanced consultation, a second opinion to potentially avoid an unnecessary root canal, or an implant and veneer evaluation, they are offering a full exam, x-rays, all the imaging, and a strategy session directly with the doctor for just $67. Oh, and they back it up with a 100% money-back guarantee. If it doesn't feel worth every single dollar to you, they refund you completely, no questions asked. It's just an incredible opportunity to finally get off that traditional repair cycle, either for yourself or as a really thoughtful gift for a mother or loved one who is constantly putting their own health on the back burner. Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground today. From the evolution of the human airway and the crazy metabolic traffic jam caused by our modern diets, all the way to avoiding the traditional dental trap using biomimetic science. When you look at it all together, it really comes down to one thing: respecting the natural structure of our bodies. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are you ready to stop just patching the symptoms and finally start reclaiming your biological night? Take a moment today to really think about your sleep routine and your dental health. Are you just surviving, or are you actually thriving? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really look forward to exploring more fascinating insights with you next time.